Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Salty Dog Podcast.
Let's get salty!
What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 32 of the Salty Dog Podcast. Wow, that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? For some reason, it just clicked with me. But
32
episodes. I'm Clash, he's Dookie, and we, as always, 32 times, and hopefully at least 32 more times, are your salty captains.
Ahoy there, mateys!
Ahoy, ahoy! So what is up, fam?
Oh, just waiting for those nerfs to ruin the game.
You mean fix the game?
Oh, yeah, right. I mean, we're going to get into that. But I haven't been playing much aside from just doing a quest every day. Did the tavern brawl. Wasn't a huge fan of it, so I only did it once. You know the drill when we're just waiting for the next stuff to come out.
Yeah, I definitely feel that right now. At this point, I've officially reached the point where all I want to do is play Arena.
Yeah, actually, I did a little of that, yeah.
Yeah, which is how I know that I'm basically, like, hashtag over it, is when I want to start doing Arena.
When you want to subject yourself to that shit, that's when you know that things are getting stale.
No, I really kind of burned myself out last month just with how I ended up having to finish. I don't know if there are some people here in chat tonight who came out to our little gameplay stream that we did last Tuesday when instead of doing what we were going to do, Blood and Bacon, I was so close to Legend that I wanted to try to make that push, and it did not go well, unfortunately.
One step I mean, it went like average.
Yeah.
One step forward, one step back.
Yeah, it was, I mean, 50%'s not really average as far as school's concerned, but it basically ended up being about an hour and a half, 2 hours of swapping one star back and forth. So
yeah,
that really kind of burned me out just because there was like a couple times last season when I got into a groove and I really made like really fast progress and then just kept hitting walls. And I'm just like, I'm sick of the, Keleseth, Shadow Step Keleseth, and like the Highlander Priest mirrors where the first person to get Shadow Reaper wins, and there's basically nothing else matters. That kind of shenanigans. I'm just kind of done with it. So
yeah, I feel that for sure. I mean, I didn't get anywhere as high rank as you this season. I think I got to 15. But like those packed warlocks were still showing up, and
oh yeah,
like it was every time. It was just like, well, I hope I can nail a silence, and if I can't, then I guess I'll just die.
Yeah.
So
there's too much of that. Like we've mentioned this before. The whole high roll meta conversation has kind of dropped off, but I still really feel that way a lot. That there are certain things that decks can do that completely has nothing to do with what you've done or your deck construction or whatever, and you just become incredibly unfavored if they hit that. The Keleseth for tempo rogues, the Shadow Reaper Anduin Raza combo, of course, just things like that, just kind of make them unwinnable games.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're dealing with combo-y decks, you're dealing with a high roll meta, because if you don't get those combos, then you don't win.
Yeah.
But
we do have the nerfs coming, which we are going to talk about. We're a little behind on the times on the nerfs. I'm sure, that's been done into the ground, but we'll still give our 2 cents on what's going on with that and what the meta may or may not look like afterwards. We got some other cool news going on. There's some sweet giveaways in the works that are really easy to be a part of. Some new stuff coming into the store. And of course the nerfs will be hitting this month, and at the beginning of next month we'll have the new ladder system. So
good stuff.
Yeah, this is all coming out very timely. I really like so far this year how the pacing has gone. They know that we're fast approaching that like middle dead zone, that like the low point of the of the curve or whatever for interest in the game, because the meta's just so stale at this point.
Yep.
So
It
it's
seems
really
like
nice
that's
to have all
when
these. Yeah.
That's when the nerfs get rolled out. Usually, is like
Mm-hmm.
when things are getting stale. That's when they're like, all right, gonna shake things up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's perfect timing because it keeps you interested, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a way to reignite interest in the game without actually introducing new cards into the pool, because they can't obviously just do that whenever they feel like it. They have those 3 times a year that we get that, so I think they're doing better so far with making sure they're keeping the game fresh in between expansions.
Yeah,
which is cool.
I'm happy with the way the Hearthstone team has like handled things in like the past like year. You know, it feels like they give a shit. You know, it's not just like Blizzard is the Overwatch company, so that's all they care about. They actually clearly do care about Hearthstone, so that's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's kind of funny that like Blizzard kind of is the Overwatch company now, right? It's so funny too because they were the Warcraft company for such a long time, but now it's all Overwatch.
Yeah.
And Hearthstone's like the the little, whatever you want to call it, the like redheaded stepchild of Blizzard, but hey, we're still here.
Well, then that means Heroes of the Storm is like the mutant redheaded second removed adopted stepchild, and Diablo 3 is like the aborted fetus. I don't know.
The aborted fetus. Diablo 3 is just past its time, you know. Diablo 3 had a time when it was like the thing or whatever, but no, you're right. Heroes is the child that they don't even tell the neighbors that they have, you know. They can stay in the attic.
They keep them chained up in the attic.
Anyway, that pretty much sums up my week. I tried really hard to push Legend again, and I'm sad that this wasn't the month that the new ladder system got implemented, because I'd be rank 6 right now instead of rank 15 or whatever the hell I am.
Yeah,
so that'd be bummer. Yeah, I know that'd be wicked, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So
I almost went down. I was 15 and I went down to 21, so I only went down 6 ranks.
There you go. Hey, that's only 2 more than you're gonna go.
Yeah, and I had a battle cry quest, and I just today built a battle cry dragon. Whenever I see a battle cry quest, I'm like dragon priest.
Oh, there you go.
So I definitely don't have the cards to run like the meta dragon priest. So I tried to make a tempo-ish one that was reminiscent of Days of Yore.
Days of Yore, the Blackrock days.
Yeah, I whooped one guy.
Nice.
So that was cool.
That guy was like, oh, man.
Yep.
All right. So, let's hop over to the news. We'll explain how the ladder's going to change and the nerfs that are coming through if you somehow haven't heard about that yet. So, let us see what is going on.
What's happening?
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Time is money, friend. Keep it quick, kid. I ain't got all day.
Alright, so I figure we should just rip the Band-Aid off, just get the nerf talk out of the way. So I've got, if you're here with us live or watching the VOD, I've got all the pictures of the cards that have been nerfed. They are Bonemare, Raza the Chained, Patches the Pirate, and Corridor Creeper. None of these are a surprise. Those are all just very triggering cards, very hot button, hot topic cards. And they all needed to be addressed. So one at a time, we'll just go through. Raza the Chained got hit fairly hard. It's still a Highlander card, still a 5-mana 5/5, but the battle cry has been changed to, if your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 1 instead of 0, of course, which is what he does still currently. Obviously, this just completely turns Shotgun Priest or Highlander or Razaka's Priest, whatever you want to call it, on its head, because it really just tries to burn you down with Velen combos and free spells, because the hero power is free, so you can get like 6 or 7 shots of it off in one turn. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that honestly though, Raza was I think Raza was the one that surprised me the most.
You mean out of all the cards that rose to power or whatever?
No, that all these cards that got nerfed, I think Raza was the one that surprised me the most that got nerfed.
Oh, why is that?
I just like Raza. Maybe it's because Priest is more of a slow build, sort of like once it has all the pieces, that's when it kind of fucks you up. versus Corridor Creeper, it's like, oh, here comes 2 free 5/5s. Here come, or like, you know, when a 3/3 patches pops out because of Keleseth, or when something gets Bonemared and you're like, oh god, how do I deal with this? But Raza was like, oh, okay, well, the hero power is free now, so I could still, like, you know, I still have some turns to, like, piece my win together, versus these other cards are just so tempo. Like, Raza's not really tempo. Raza's just setting up a win condition.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely sort of this weird version of a combo. Like, I get what you're saying. It's a combo that affects the entire game only with 2 cards, just Raza and Shadow Reaper. Normally we've seen combos in the past, like Malagos Druid or something that requires Emperor Thars and Malagos, Moonfires, you know, lots of cards and getting them all in your hand to do a combo. This is like a slow burn combo, which makes it better and worse at the same time, kind of. So I see where you're coming from, and I mean, clearly they intended for Raza to be what it has been for almost, 2 years now. They're just changing it right here at the end, mainly, as they stated, as a wild nerf, which I can definitely see, because Highlander Priest became the best deck in both metas, which is never what they intended having standard and wild, you know, was for one card to be so powerful that it actually swings both metas. I definitely see it totally as a wild nerf, honestly. I mean, he's only going to exist nerfed in standard for, like, a month and a half before he's gone. So yeah, I mean, with everything, just, I already complain about Highlander decks having, like, access to, especially when the card pool's this big, having access to so many tools that it doesn't even matter that they can only have one copy, because they can still figure out a way to have an answer for everything. And in Wild, that's only amplified. So I mean, I think about what a free hero power could potentially mean in Wild. It already is extremely impressive in Wild, mainly because of Spawn of Shadows. You know, you just get those combos that were never intended to exist together at the same time. And I think that's why we see the nerf. But clearly they were okay with Raza, you know, being a cornerstone of the standard meta for a while.
I think that's why nerfing it surprised me, because I wasn't thinking in terms of Wild. I was like, well, Raza seems like kind of like a fair building block to the Shadow Reaper Anduin deck. So, like, it's not an immediate, like, oh, fuck, what do I do? It's like, okay, well, I see this now, and now I have to be ready for what's coming later.
Right.
So, but yeah, as a wild nerf, I mean, 1 mana is literally infinity times more mana than 0 mana.
Yeah, so it's way bigger than, like, even the difference between, like, 2 and 4 mana, you know?
Yeah,
like, it's incomprehensible. Like, I mean, just changing
free
something.
Is free.
Free is free. It doesn't use one of your precious 10 mana crystals. Like, you're never going to get more than that.
Like, you have infinite amount of free. Like, if everything, like, yeah.
Yeah. It cannot be overstated how much worse he is now. I mean, is Highlander Priest still going to be a thing in Wild? Yeah, because Reno Jackson's still a thing. And are you still going to want to use Raza? It's still
probably.
It's like a pretty effective Highlander tool still. So, I mean, I don't see him going anywhere entirely, but I definitely see Highlander's Priest position being weakened.
I mean, watch some Inspire cards, like, rise to the top to take advantage of the 1 mana hero power now, you know?
Well, I mean, there's no way they can take advantage of it better than the 0 mana.
Well, no.
Thing.
But he's not going to be used for infinite shotgunning as much, so I don't know. Something has to capitalize off of it if it can't be capitalized off of by the thing that did it the best.
Right.
Which was Anduin. But
yeah, of course. But yeah, basically, like, that's why I decided I want to play some Shadow Reaper Anduin while Raza is still the Raza it currently is, because it's never going to be the same. You're never going to get that experience of firing off, you know, 5 or 6 hero powers in one turn ever again after Raza's change, which is kind of like I'm happy to see the balance, but I'm, like, a little sad that that's gone, because I really enjoy it. But basically that's Raza. Like, rip Raza. I mean, basically rip Shotgun Priest. You know, like, Raza could still see some play, but that deck that's just full of cycle and cheap spells is gone, because now you don't have any reason to run that any longer.
Yeah, exactly.
And then let's just talk about the other one that's mainly a wild change. Two of them are, I think, in my opinion, basically wild balance changes, and two of them are standard balance changes. So the second wild balance change is patches. Everybody knows this motherfucker. He's a 1-mana, 1/1 pirate. Yar! And he used to say, after you play a pirate, summon this minion from your deck, charge. Now he just says, after you play a pirate, summon a minion. Summon this minion from your deck. So he loses charge. He's no longer like a amped up Stone Tusk boar. He's just a pirate that pops out if you play another pirate, and he's just the worst top deck in the game if you have him in your deck. Again, like, Patches has already completely decimated the meta for his entire existence, and changing him at the very tail end of the last standard meta that he's going to be in, it's clearly a wild. It's clearly wild.
Yeah,
balance.
for sure. I mean, he was already in like 75% of the standard decks, so imagine how many wild decks he would be in from now until the end of time. Because, so not nerfing Patches would have just made every deck a Patches deck.
Exactly, which is where we already were. We were already in the Patches meta. It was a wild Patches meta. It was a standard Patches meta, just like kind of Raza, you know? Like, it wasn't as rampant because Raza is a class card. Patches being neutral, I mean, you know, when you've got Druids literally throwing South Sea Captains in their deck. I've even seen the Tempo Priests using Patches in some pirates and stuff. So, when a card's that strong, and it's going in classes, doesn't fit and was never intended to be in. Clearly, just one of the most broken cards Blizzard's ever made.
Yeah. That was actually one that I think I called when we.
Yeah. No.
You remember how stoked I was when I was like, this thing's fucking amazing.
Yeah. No, you were. I was like, it's good, but like you were definitely the one who saw the more potential in the card, which makes sense because you're so like, you know, aggressive, like board oriented in your approach to card games. So it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, happy to see this. I'm happy that Wild is not just going to be a Patches cancer meta, and we'll have a little, like a brief reprieve, like for a couple months in Standard where we won't have to hear that almost every game. Like, I am in charge.
I'm in charge. So one thing to talk about with Patches though is, will he still be playable? And I think that he will be in pirate decks. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with like playing a South Sea Captain and a free 2/2 coming out onto the board. Like, that's good. There's honestly nothing wrong with throwing out a South Sea deckhand on turn 1 and getting a free 1/1 that's part of your deck's tribe. Because I mean, there's a Murloc that's exactly that. No, he's 1 more mana. So for one, so that's still great. Like a 2/1 and a 1/1 for 1 mana, that's still great. So I don't think people will be throwing pirates in their decks just to have Patches.
No, not anymore. No,
but I think pirate decks will run Patches.
I think that basically Patches' future is in Wild, in exactly the warrior pirate deck that uses the ship's cannon. I think that is his future.
I think that's a great combo, yeah.
Which is pretty much where he belongs.
Yeah.
And, you know, every once in a while you'll run into somebody doing pirate warrior on ladder in Wild if you're into that. And if you're into that mode, and then you'll see Patches come out. But other than that, he's pretty much rip at this point.
Yeah, which I mean, I like him as a imagine if he was a Murloc, like same deal. Like you'd only put that in a Murloc deck. You'd play your war leader, and he'd pop out and be scary. And that
So basically, again,
it's just a tribe card.
Though, like like somebody in the chat was just saying, after 87 years, finally Patches is nerfed. But yeah, it's clearly way too late to be, have any real impact on the standard meta that he was a part of. Like basically, it's like too late to apologize at this point. You know, like this is clearly just a wild balance change. Yeah. But moving on,
I think that's fine. I liked Patches. Honestly,
I know you did.
He didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth like a lot of fucking things did. Like, I just thought he was a very well-designed, like, balanced card, and when he was abused by shit like shadow stepping your Keleseth and all that crap, then that's when it got stupid. But, like, baseline, I thought Patches was just one of the coolest Hearthstone cards that I've seen.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's very your style. I just think it was pretty cancerous and bad for the game when he was how he was.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so those are basically like Raza and Patches, basically wild changes. So let's look at what's actually going to affect the current meta. First, we'll look at Bonemare, who has just had his cost increased by 1. He used to be 7 mana, 5/5, give a friendly minion +4/+4 taunt. Now he does the same thing, but he's 8. I think this is totally fair. He's still overstated. An 8 mana 9/9 is still overstated compared to other cards. The 8 slot, however, is a much more powerful slot than 7. That's one of the main ways to look at this, as far as if it's still going to see play or whatever. Like, 8 slot minions are generally pretty powerful. You got stuff like Tyrion, all the Paladin legendaries always come to mind because they're always so good.
Yeah.
Ragnaros, the Light Lord, Ragnaros, the Fire Lord. In Wild, 8 drops are just good, right? So Bonemare might basically be harder to fit into certain decks that have really great 8 drops they want to play. But in the decks that Bonemare already sees play in, like Tempo Rogue, like Zoo Warlock, like those really aggressive, like early game aggressive decks that try to use Bonemare to just close out the game, I don't think it really, they care that much. I mean, yeah, having to wait one more turn for the Bonemare turn is a little, it's a little disappointing or whatever if you're trying to, generate that huge board and that extra damage. But I still think Bonemare's totally a respectable card still. Yeah,
I mean, when this card came out, I think we knew it would be really good, and then it was in practice. It's just numbers. Like, you look at these stats, you say 7 mana for 9 power, 9 health, and taunt on the board. Oh, and 4 of that attack and health is going on something that could already be on the board for a turn and can attack right away and make a huge tempo swing. Like, Bonemare would, like you'd have to just not know much about Hearthstone to not know that Bonemare was super fucking powerful.
Yeah.
And I think as a standalone card, making him 1 more mana isn't really that big of a nerf, because you're still getting 9/9 stats with taunt, still the potential for a huge tempo swing. But like you said, looking at it from not in a vacuum, there are a lot of other things competing with it at the 8 mana slot, and those mana slots at the top end of your deck are way more limited. There's a lot more competition between your cards, for what's going to go in those highest slots. So when you're like, am I going to drop my Bonemare? Am I going to drop my Tyrion? Like, I'm probably going to drop my Tyrion.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, basically, that's the one consideration. The other consideration is just the fact that coming down a turn later, it is weaker. Like, you don't present as big of a board as early. It's harder to generate value off of Bonemare on a board that's just been wiped at being 1 more mana.
Yeah.
Now you can't, on turn 8, you can't Firefly Bonemare. You have to wait till turn 9 to do something like that, or turn 10 for a 2-drop. So, I mean, it definitely pushes the whole thing back.
And actually, as Dougie points out here, taking him out of the 7 slot means that the 7 slot is now void of something, powerful.
Right.
So, really, this was not about the mana cost itself. It was more about the tempo of when you can play it.
Yes, that really is the issue here with it. The point, a great point being that the 7 slot has historically, I feel, been kind of weak as far as minions are concerned. You can think of a shitload of really great 8-drop minions in the history of Hearthstone, but 7 drops are usually kind of weird, And
I can't think of any 7 drops off the top of my head that are fantastic right now. So
yeah, basically just Bonemare, but he's not a 7-drop anymore. I mean, I still think it's gonna get put in tempo decks. I do, maybe not every single one of them. I still think Zoo Warlock will use this. I still think that Paladins will use this. but you know, maybe not tempo rogue.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Mana curves are a thing.
Yeah.
You know, this could totally just take this card out of lots of decks.
Yeah, it definitely could. It definitely could, but I still think that in and of itself, it's still a powerhouse of a card, and something that you should think about trying to work into any deck where you're just trying to, you know, stick a really powerful board.
I mean, he's still going to be in your arena deck. That's for damn sure.
Oh, yeah. Always get Bonemare. But you do not always get the next card that was nerfed. This was hit the hardest of any of the 4 cards. It's Corridor Creeper, which basically just unprinted itself. Like, this card basically doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, oh, rip. Corridor Creeper.
Corridor Creeper went from a 7-mana 5/5 that costs 1 less whenever a minion dies while it's in your hand to a 7-mana 2/5 that costs 1 less whenever a minion dies when it's in your hand. I mean, the difference is just incredibly drastic. I could only see a 2/5 beast getting run in one of 2 decks. So I think the more likely one is in Evolve Shaman, especially if that finds more of a place in the meta after these nerfs take place. If it's like kind of, if its positioned is increased in power, like based on these balance changes, you can get an 8/8 or an 8 drop off of an evolve for free. So that's basically one of the best ways that you could still play it. And then I think Hunter could possibly take advantage of the free beast, just with beast synergy, like being able to throw it down for kill command activations, for Who Let the Dogs Out, what's that guy's name? Houndmaster's activations, and just beast synergy in general. Other than that, it's Zoo Warlock. It's out of Zoo Warlock. It's out of Tempo Rogue. I think this is great, though. Honestly, Corridor Creeper is a super tilting card, especially if they've got 2 in their hand and they're just sitting there waiting for it to discount, and then all of a sudden the tempo swings just completely devastating when they come down.
Yeah, if he's not discounted by 4, he is worse than a carrion grub, and that is already not like a card people really play. Yeah, like you said, he's a good Houndmaster target. The best thing is probably going to be Evolve, really, just because he's 7 mana. But yeah, this guy is rip.
Yeah, because basically, you know, like, 0 mana for any number of stats is a good thing. Like, 0 mana 2/5, sure, like, you don't scoff at that, but he is actually a 7 mana 2/5. You have to get him in your hand. Turns have to pass. Minions have to die. You don't want to top deck this thing. Like, if you top deck Corridor Creeper as a 7 mana 5/5 and you have nothing else to play, it's not that bad. It's kind of like when you have to tempo out a Bonemare and with no target. It's something that you can do. But you don't want to top deck a 7 mana 2/5 that's way past having any sort of impact on the game whatsoever. So, yeah, I think it's out of most decks. Like, pretty much probably all of them, to be honest, but there are some areas where it could still see some play.
Yeah.
So basically, yep, that's the nerfs. 4 cards, but they managed to make a huge impact. Honestly, I think tempo decks were the most affected. Raza and Patches, I mean, you know, for the short time that Raza's nerfed and still in the meta, Highlander Priest will pretty much disappear from the ladder.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's going to be a huge change, but the biggest change is going to be to all those tempo decks, the really aggressive decks, the Aggro Paladin, the Tempo Rogue, and the Zoo Warlock, because they got hit hard with these changes. And Patches. I mean, all three of them target the tempo decks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, you know, one thing, like, I think these nerfs, we both agree, are like fair and good and needed.
Yes.
But of course the talking point here is Warlock did not get nerfed at all. And Warlock is already incredibly oppressive and combo-y and just tilting. So that's a big problem that we both have with it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there are some people out there saying it's going to be a huge problem. Some people are saying not so much. I tend to go more towards I'm afraid of where Warlock's going to be at. Now, Zulok's getting hurt with the patches and Corridor Creeper nerf, but there are 2 archetypes of Warlock that are completely untouched and already considered tier 1 decks, and that's the Q block, which is the more combo-y version, still using the Void Lords and the Possessed Lackeys and such, but they try to do that combo where they where they cube their Doom Guards and then Dark Pact the cube and get just a ton of burst damage from their Doom Guards. And then there's the more traditional, like, hand-locky style of Control Warlock that actually uses the Rin the First Disciple.
Right.
And is just, in general, a very, very slow burn control deck. And I think that's actually might be the one that ends up being the strongest deck, at least for a little while, because the Q-Block deck can kind of defeat itself. You know, there are ways to play around it a little bit with silences. There are ways that they can draw poorly, getting the weapon without demons in their hand, getting the demons and no weapon, you know, things like that. But the Control Warlock's very consistent, very strong, and it basically has been being kept out of the meta by Highlander Priest. Because if you give Highlander Priest time, they're going to win every time because of their burst damage combo. But with that gone, with that almost like pseudo OTK deck, OTK combo deck out, Control Warlock's looking pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, all the tempo decks have been hit. The Bonemares have been hit. Their Corridor Creepers have been hit. The Patches has been hit. So, it's not looking good for aggro decks to be able to take down a really powerful control deck early enough.
No, I think we're probably going to be looking at a pretty control-y meta. It's just going to be a race to find that thing that can beat Warlock now.
Right. So, I mean, you still got really powerful tempo cards like Called Arms and stuff, but like these Warlock archetypes already exist alongside those cards and still do well. But you've just had some of their better cards taken out. So I think that is really concerning. I really do. The only thing that I can say, like, is that possibly other decks will be explored that haven't, like, other avenues and archetypes that haven't really been fleshed out yet, because people do get comfortable with the established archetypes, but when forced out of the comfort zone, there might be some things that pop up that haven't really been discovered, or decks that were badly positioned against the decks that were nerfed will rise and possibly naturally check the Warlock decks as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, and things could have been oppressed by all these aggro tempo decks that are getting nerfed now, and those things can finally like actually shine, and maybe they do counter Control Warlock. So
right,
we'll see.
We shall, and I think Druid's going to do really well too, because Druid's doing just fine. The Jade version and the kind of Miracle version with the Giants. Those are both doing really well for themselves, and they're not getting touched either. So their position naturally rises as well. Anything that doesn't get touched by these nerfs just naturally becomes more powerful, like in conjunction against the meta. So I think it's great. I'm looking forward to the change. It just gets a little bit dry after a while, so I think this is good timing for the nerfs. Yeah,
for sure.
But that's basically all I have to say about the nerfs. I don't know.
I feel like we about covered it.
I think we about covered it.
We about covered it.
What else is there to talk about other than the nerfs, though?
We've got the sweepstakes.
Yeah, that's like a more exciting thing to talk about. So let's talk about the sweepstakes. I actually have the exact terms and stuff up here. So I don't know if anyone else was like shocked when they got like a push notification from Hearthstone today that was like, win 3,000 packs. I'm like, 3,000? Like, are you kidding? Like, that, it just seemed like wrong. Like, I thought somebody like hit like the wrong numbers before they sent out their notification or whatever. But it actually is a 3,000 pack giveaway. Only one person will win that. So basically, they're having this little sweepstakes where all you have to do is just do your daily quests. You have to do them between the dates of today, February 1st, and February 14th. That's the only time where completing daily quests makes you eligible. So you want to do all your quests within that time frame. Don't miss a day, because you're missing an entry into the competition.
Yeah, it's 14 days, and you only get 14 entries, so doing those extra like 2 quests at some point over the course of the next 2 weeks won't actually get you like 2 more entries.
Right.
So you really you only need to do 1 quest a day still.
Right.
Just FYI if you want to get technical with it.
Right. Let's get technical.
Let's get technical.
So you can enter 14 times, so just don't go a day without doing a quest, basically. I guess there's no way that you can really mess it up, because even if you do all 3 of your quests in one day, you're still going to get one for the next day. So make sure you play the game every day for the next 14 days, and you'll be good. So they'll be randomly selected from the people who enter, of course, and there's a grand prize of one person will win 3,000 packs, which, like, how long would that even take you to open 3,000 packs?
Right,
I feel like
I know.
it'd take you like 2 hours. The next one, also, the grand prize winner wins all of these things I'm about to say, by the way. The 3,000 packs, the Lich King's helmet, which is the actual helmet that was worn by the actor who was playing Lich King in all the Frozen Throne promotional stuff.
Yep.
Like that actual helmet, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
And then you get some Hearthstone apparel, a t-shirt, a cap, and a pin. So that all goes to one lucky person.
And I believe it's 1,000 packs per expansion from Year of the Mammoth. So
right,
Ungoro, Knights, and Kobolds.
Right. So I mean, just dust literally coming out of your ears if you get that one. Then the next one, there are 1,000 winners of the Mammoth Bundle, which I'll explain what that is, and then it's actually going to become a purchasable thing afterwards as well. So the Mammoth Bundle is 10 Ungoro packs, 10 Frozen Throne packs, and 10 Kobolds packs. The Mammoth Bundle meaning Year of the Mammoth, which is the year that those sets came out in. And a lot like the one-time promotional thing that they did for like the Hearthstone starter pack, where you got a free legendary and a bunch of classic packs for less money, the Mammoth Bundle is going to become purchasable as well at a discount, but also one time only. So again, 10 of each of those packs I just said, and it's going to be $20, about $20 when they haven't officially released the US dollar amount. But that's like the conversion rate has been pretty much figured out. So 30 packs for $20 is decent.
Yeah, I mean, how much would 30 packs be? Just if you were just buying them, if you were just raw dogging it.
You're just raw dogging. I think it's $20 for 25.
Okay, 20 for 25. Okay.
Right, because I mean, it is $2 US to purchase one pack, but the more packs you buy at once, the better the conversion rate is. So 20 becomes 25, and then 50 is, I think, 40, right? I don't think it's that good. I don't think it
goes...
50 is 50. That's what it is.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it ever
50,
goes below $1.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But this is going to be the best way to get a bunch of packs. It's $20 for 30, so... I'm just going to use all my Google Play rewards cash from doing the Google surveys thing to buy mine.
Yeah, no, that's a great use of that.
And then finally, there'll be 50,000 winners of just 3 card packs, 1 Ungoro, 1 Frozen Throne, and 1 Kobolds. So it all has that theme of one of each of the packs from the Year of the Mammoth.
I'll be happy if I get that.
Yeah. I mean, anything really,
Yeah.
But that's really not that many. Like 50,000 winners. I mean, like millions of people play Hearthstone. So
yeah, I guess so. How many people play Hearthstone?
We're gonna get some cold hard facts, some quick maths for you guys.
40 million.
40 million. So that's quite a small amount of people.
I think that's just like probably number of like accounts.
Right. I mean, they're probably not active players.
Yeah, as far as like active people, yeah.
It's still it's way more than 50,000.
Yes, it is.
But no, it's still cool. It's kind of a cool way to just celebrate the Year of the Mammoth. It seems like they're unveiling these things that will end up being, annual occurrences, which is cool because it's not something we've really had before. They're really starting to roll out things that feel like traditions, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely. They're giving a lot of stuff away these days.
Yeah, which I'm super cool with that.
Definitely super cool with that.
So make sure you do your daily quests. Of course, we just started a new season. Next season will be the first time that we have the new ranked ladder system. So just keep in mind that if you're going to be doing some laddering this season, whatever you end up reaching, whatever rank you end up reaching, you're only going to slide 4 back this time when we move into March from February. So if you're rank 10, you're going to go to rank 14, so on and so forth, which is pretty sweet. So
yeah, no, it's great.
If you haven't really laddered before, this is really the time to start throwing your hat in the ring, because it's way better than it's ever been. Like, I was rank 2 and fell back to rank 14, I'm pretty sure.
Jeez.
So it used to be way, way, way more punishing.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, also you'll be able to get the season rewards, the card back, and the random cards and dust you get just by completing 5 ranked games instead of getting to rank 20, which is what the previous requirement was.
Yeah. So you have to play. They want you to play. You can't just hover. You can't just be like, lost my rank, went down to 21. Let me play 1 game and then I'll get my card back and I can just quit. They want you to actually play the game. So that's cool.
True. Or or like me, I fell back to rank 14. I wouldn't even have to play the game and I'd still get the season rewards. So, let's see. One more thing to mention in the news. It's just like a little thing. There is going to be a special pre-order card back for Battle of Azeroth. It's a little cross-promotion between World of Warcraft and Hearthstone. So if you're already planning on possibly playing the new expansion of WoW, you can get a pretty sick card back. It looks pretty cool, actually. Let me see if I can find the picture of it. It's like the Alliance flag and stuff, which is cool. The Alliance and the Horde flag.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
I didn't end up saying the second part of what I wanted to say. Here we go. There it is. It's called the Azeroth is Burning card back. So, got some sick fire and stuff. It's like, I don't know, at this point, like, it's not even like, it's just getting old to me. I'm like, the Horde and the Alliance are fighting again? Like...
I thought that we were always doing that. Why is the Horde on the bottom? I'm not getting it.
That's true. You should be able to, like, select which way it is, right?
Yeah, you should be able to rotate it. Oh, my God. You totally should.
That would be so awesome.
Oh, you know what they should have fucking done is just made one of each.
That's true.
I could do that right now. I could just mirror each side and make 2 card backs.
I guess what's kind of cool, though, is if somebody's using the card back against you, the Horde one's going to be on the top. Because of the way the cards face.
No, you see their cards like that.
Well, I mean, it's going to be at the top of the screen. So, like the Horde thing's going to be, like, facing you.
No, you still see their cards, like, right side up.
Right. I'm just saying, since it's at the top. It won't be at the top of the card. I'm just saying, since it's at the top of the screen and, like, part of the cards are, like, cut off, it's the Horde part's going to be the one that's showing. That's what I mean.
I see. It'll be showing.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
Because that's important.
Yeah, super important. Yeah, I don't know. That's not incentive enough, to pre-order Battle for Azeroth. But I'm thinking about playing, but who knows?
Oh, come on. There's no way we're going to have time to play that game when we're playing Monster Hunter.
That's true.
Especially me, because, like, you're getting to play it now, but I'm going to have to wait.
And then I'll just get it on PC and play it again.
Start it over.
Which is totally, I have no problems with that.
Good. But we're going to talk more about stuff like that in our little Misk Gaming section. But first, we have some Q&A, as always, from some people who have some just burn-in questions for us. So you want to start us off?
Yeah. DJ asks, what cards and decks, other than Q-Block, will be top tier after the nerfs?
I read this one about an hour or two ago when we were starting to prep for the show, and I was like, damn, that's a hard question.
That's a tough one.
That is a hard question. I feel like the only thing that really came to mind for me in the brief time that I've had to think about this is I think that a lot of people, at least at first, are going to go back to, like, spiteful decks, because those decks are really, really good. you know, when you can just play Mind Control in a Tempo Priest deck and play Spiteful Summoner on 6 and get a Deathwing, that's pretty fucking good. And, like, they've always been pretty good. I still lose to those decks, like, you know, from time to time on ladder. You know, they're like an established archetype, and they're really strong, and I think there's going to be a lot less Shadow Reaper Anduins going around. So, like, having that extra Shadow Word Death to take out, like, huge boards is kind of going to be, like, gone, if not just, like, a lot less. So, yeah, I'm going to put my chips on Spiteful Summoner.
Yeah, Spiteful's it's a powerful little gimmick. Could totally work. I keep seeing Nepeta in chat say Secret Mage, and
that's true.
I think I agree, because if that lackey comes down and gets potion to polymorphed, then what are you gonna do?
Well, that's true. Yeah, I don't think they really run the potion of polymorph, but it's something,
but maybe they should.
Maybe they will. Maybe, like,
you know, like,
it'll be a Secret Mage teched against Warlock or whatever.
Yeah, you hit Void Lord with that, forget it. You hit Cube with that, so good.
That's true.
Yeah, I think that the meta is just going to be figure out what beats Warlock. Could be, you mentioned Druid earlier, and that's a possibility, especially because the Geist that kills all their 1-mana cards will kill their fucking Pact.
Well, that's the thing, though, is Druid can't run that, though, because they destroy all their own Jade items.
Wait, that's a neutral card, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So anybody, really, I don't know why people aren't teching that right now, to be honest. So.
Well, hey, if Warlock that actually uses Dark Pact and Jade Druid or some form of Druid that runs the Idol do rise, then you're going to see a lot of ghouls. Definitely. I'm thinking about teching that right now. Damn. It's like time to, like, we don't even have time. We just got to go into Hearthstone right now and put ghouls in all of our decks.
So, I don't know. I don't know specifically. I mean, maybe something like maybe like a draw out rogue or something where they just don't really care what the Warlock's doing, and they're just like, oh, that's nice. You got all these double death rattles and all these void walkers and this lackey and all this bullshit, this cube, whatever. How about we just vanish that?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe something like that where you just don't care that they have an invincible board. Like, oh, you Blood Reaver Gul'dan, it all comes back. Fucking vanish, whatever.
Yep.
So
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you know, classes that have access to transform mechanics are going to be good. The more that there are minions that need to be transformed to get rid of. So yeah, I mean, Mage, possibly Shaman. I think that Evolved Shaman's still going to be strong. So
right. Well, yeah, it's just the thing with the Q block is you don't have time to react because they do everything on their turn, and the only thing I see that really gets through that is Potion of Polymorph or just sending everything to their hand, because like once they cube a Doomguard and then pact it, then the damage is done. Like transforming one of those Doomguards isn't really gonna like save you.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely true. I do think Secret Mage's position will also be bettered by these changes. I think I'm probably going to start off, as soon as the nerfs hit, I think the first thing I'm going to try is a Spiteful Summoner deck. See if I can cheese out some wins with that before the meta is settled into a new state. So,
yeah.
All right.
Shot.
Yeah. Moving on to our next question from Tacky on Railgun. We have, as someone who has never played WoW, I'm curious, how well does Hearthstone capture the essence of the game? Do you have any ideas how it could reasonably do more? This is a great question. I really like this one because this is what I'm constantly thinking about, because I came from WoW to Hearthstone. I didn't come to it because I wanted to play a card game. I was like, oh, a card game about WoW? Interesting. Let me check it out.
Yeah.
I think you and I are both that way. We both really come from a World of Warcraft
for sure.
history. So I think the answer to that is it depends on the expansion. Because sometimes I think they don't capture the essence of Warcraft at all. And sometimes I think they really nail it. I think the time they nailed it the best was Knights of the Frozen Throne. That was a great example of them really capturing the characters, really capturing the flavor of the expansion. that was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I'm always like kind of back and forth with like how they handle the various expansions as far as like how the WoW lore comes into play, and like a lot of the time they really just like go off the rails and just come up with some weird stuff. Like the Karazhan one was like, oh, we're having a party in Karazhan, when it's really
I knew you were gonna. I was gonna say like you're just gonna have a rant about Karazhan, which is like a time where they really didn't capture the
exactly. And that kind of made me mad because that's like my favorite raid in the whole game. But as far as like they may not keep like a lot of the actual like lore super consistent, but what they do keep consistent is like the world, like races and classes and themes and spells, and they make shit up a lot too, but like you're not really seeing like everything is some like race from the Warcraft universe that we've seen, aside from those turtle people. I think that's something they made up.
And I think maybe the mushroom people too. Like they
tend
to...
I guess that's a new thing.
Yeah, for some reason what they've kind of fallen into is like taking pretty much all of the actual like creatures and like, peoples and stuff from the game, while also just designing some weird like chibi cutesy little thing and throwing it in there. Like as their own design, which is interesting and kind of weird, but like it's fine.
Yeah. It's like, because I think the like setting of Hearthstone is supposed to be like you're having this card game in like a tavern, in the Warcraft world,
Yeah.
So it's almost like their own fantasy creatures are these mushroom people and these turtle people that don't actually exist in their world, but they're like, oh, we're playing this card game.
It's like Inception gaming.
Yeah, they're like, we're playing this card game that has these crazy monsters. Wow, imagine if there were turtle people. There's walrus people, totally normal.
But turtle people though.
I think it's as far as capturing the essence of the game, I think it does enough of a job. I think it could do more, and I think we saw how it could do more with Knights of the Frozen Throne. And I would just say, if they were going to go that direction in the future, just kind of follow that model, because I think it was executed very, very well.
Yeah. So basically, it's hit or miss.
They could do more. Yeah,
it's hit or miss. Like sometimes they really derive a lot from it, and sometimes they don't. Like Kobolds and Catacombs, like those things exist in WoW, but nothing in the set is necessarily taken directly from World of Warcraft. So
Mare the Fox is not a person.
Yeah, they make up people, they make up places. Those are two good things to compare because they're back to back, and one of them is very solidly rooted in WoW lore, and the other one is just not at all. So
totally. I feel like actually when when Hearthstone first started, they were definitely more true to the lore. Like, I don't think there's a single legendary in the classic set that's not an actual character in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, and then they started kind of going off on their own.
Yeah. I think it's fine as long as they keep some. Like, as long as there is always some actual reference to the WoW universe, then that'll be cool. Because I don't know, that's kind of what. I think it's what drew a lot of people in. But this is something I think about all the time. Or more recently, I've been thinking about this. Whenever I use a card that has like some like weird race, like a Valkyr, or just some weird word that you wouldn't have ever heard if it weren't for World of Warcraft. And I wonder if people that only play Hearthstone and don't know anything about WoW like play these cards and just think like, the fuck are all these words?
Yeah, that is an interesting question.
Yeah,
but like we're all right there. Like, what the fuck's a Tortolan though? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, that one kind of makes sense. You're like, oh, that sounds like, okay. He's a turtle guy, Tortolan. That makes sense. But yeah, anyway, I can't think of other stuff off the top of my head. But
yeah, basically it's hit or miss. I mean, I'm totally of the line that I wish everything they did was like really solidly rooted in World of Warcraft lore. But I feel like I'm kind of a minority in that opinion, especially since not everyone who plays Hearthstone comes from WoW. So,
right.
I would just love if everything was like. I would even love it, honestly, if they unveiled expansions that dealt with what's currently happening in World of Warcraft.
That would be very cool.
Like if we had a Legion expansion when Legion came out, and now it's Battle for Azeroth, the Hearthstone version. Like, I would be so into that, and it would actually make me want to play WoW again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do it, like, to some extent sometimes. Like when Karazhan came out, they had just like revamped the Karazhan raid in WoW. But yeah, it generally is. I mean, Wrath of the Lich King came out forever ago, and yeah. So anyway, good question. Wow,
it's Fury Road here for me.
Yeah, you got some Fury Road action out there.
All right, next question. I think you're up to read this one.
This was from Jarno V, who is with us in chat today. How much time do you think you've spent playing WoW and Hearthstone in your life?
I really don't want to think about that question.
God.
I really don't.
Days and days and days. I wonder if it's like a cumulative like year.
Oh, dude, we got to be close. Like, if not there, like absolutely months. Like,
for
straight
sure.
up months and months.
Makes me want to go log into WoW and hit my /played and see what my mains, or actually do it on every character and see,
add it together,
and then add a little more in there because of the alts that I've deleted.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
absolutely months and months. Like, I don't know, at this point I may have actually played more Hearthstone than WoW. No, I don't know if that's possible yet. I don't think so.
No way.
No, that's not possible yet, but it's gonna get there. It's gonna get there one day.
Maybe, unless you start playing WoW again.
That's true, but
who knows?
Gotta play Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
There's no way to know. It's just the answer is way too much time.
way too much.
All right, and our final question from Aorikos is: if you could have a race in Hearthstone other than undead, which I think would probably be both of our first choices, so it's a good thing that's specified, what would it be?
Let me think. I'm trying to think of like the creature types in World of Warcraft,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of that too. It's tough to remember. Like all I can think of, are the basic ones. There's beasts, there's oh my goodness.
It's beast, humanoid, elemental, dragonkin, undead, demon,
There's not. Oh yeah, mechanical. Which we have all of that. It's so weird that we don't have undead at this point.
We have most of that.
Yeah.
We don't have humanoid, but I feel like that'd be like everything. You know what? Actually, kind of what I want them to add is like they did in Magic, where everything has a race and a class. So like, all like your Kor'kron commander would be a warrior or something.
Right, because then you can have cards that synergize with tribes and with classes.
Yeah, but
like all your warriors get +1 attack, like stuff like that.
That might be a little excessive.
It's excessive for Hearthstone, yeah.
For Hearthstone.
I don't know, like possibly like Naru, like those light beings or whatever.
Oh yeah, the Naru, that would be interesting. We haven't seen a Naru in Hearthstone.
We haven't. So it would be kind of cool to have a bunch of those like thrown into the game. Like we've seen cards that reference them, like the old pre-spell Light of the Naru, which heals a target, but it summons like a Light Warden, because there was no Naru that it could summon or whatever. So I don't know. Mainly because I can't think of anything else, I'll say Naru.
Yeah, I'm really having trouble thinking of, because there really isn't that much they haven't done. Yeah, because they've got undead's really the big one.
Mm-hmm. And
because Murloc, you could say that's the humanoid,
Yeah.
Because that's really the only one that's like a tribe. Well, pirates is a race in Hearthstone.
Yeah. It's totally weird, to be honest, at this point that that undead is not a thing.
Yeah.
So
my answer's undead.
other than undead, it would still be undead. That's how much he wants undead.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. It just really goes to show you that that's like really just kind of bizarre at this point that there's no undead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
So, all right. I think that's it for our Q&A that we have this evening. We'll just take a minute or two to talk about some miscellaneous gaming, where this is a new thing. If you're just coming back for the first time, we're not just talking about Hearthstone during our podcast anymore. We're gonna just throw in a little bit of other games because we want to, just broaden our horizons a little bit. I think you can take this section mostly this time because I definitely want to hear about some Monster Hunter. I haven't had a chance to play.
Yeah.
I'm super sad about it because I don't have any next-gen consoles and I don't plan on getting any. I just want to wait for PC, but
yeah,
you ended up with it, so tell me about it.
By a stroke of luck, I don't own any next-gen consoles either, but my girlfriend has PS4, and then Katie, one of our viewers who's with us today in chat, actually gifted me Monster Hunter World when it came out. So, boom, I got it. I was going to be waiting for PC just like you. But here we are.
Nice.
So, I feel like I've mentioned this every time we have this Misc gaming section where, like, Monster Hunter's coming out, but then, we don't have to, we don't have anything to actually talk about.
Right, exactly.
So, it's really fucking good. If you've ever played Monster Hunter, you'll notice just vast improvements in just about every aspect. The graphics are just unbelievable. Like, the world is beautiful. The areas aren't broken up into zones with loading screens anymore.
So you mean you can't get hit by a monster and then zone out of the fucking zone you're trying to fight him in? Or wait, better yet, you can't kill him close to the zone wall and then not be able to carve his body?
Yeah.
Oh my god, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, nope, none of that shit. It's like every little quality of life thing you can think of that Monster Hunter was doing poorly is remedied. And the main one, which I actually told you about earlier today, that when I noticed this last night when I was playing, and it like blew me away. But basically, without getting in too much into technical Monster Hunter stuff, you make armor and weapons, better armor and better weapons, out of parts that you collect from killing or trapping these giant monsters in the game. And there's a lot of different parts they can drop. There's different body parts of theirs you can destroy that will enable something new to be able to be dropped. If you trap them, you might get different things than if you kill them and then just carve their parts off or whatever. Monsters have weaknesses to different elements. Weapons have elemental damage on them sometimes. And none of this information was there. Or if it was in previous Monster Hunters, it was so inaccessible and buried in walls of asinine text that I just never knew it was there. But anyway, in Monster Hunter World, there's this field guide. It's like your Pokedex for Monster Hunter, except it actually tells you useful shit.
You mean not like the size of their footprints or whatever?
Well, yeah, it's fucking... So basically, the more you encounter a monster, find traces of its roamings in the wild, the more you kill it, whatever, the more you interact with a certain monster, the more this field guide will be filled out, and it will tell you the monster's weak points, what body parts of the monster can be broken, what items will drop based on what body parts you break, what you carve from them, if you trap them. It'll tell you. So you're like, oh, I want to upgrade this weapon, but I need this Rathalos plate. So how do I get that? And you look in your field guide. You look at Rathalos, and it's like, oh, Rathalos plate. You can get it when you break their horns, or you can get it when you trap them. And you're like, cool. Then I'm going to do that. Yeah. Instead of being like, Google, tell me. Like the game actually tells you. Wow, imagine that.
Yeah, you used to have to just basically have a laptop sitting next to you to play Monster Hunter so that you could figure out what you needed to do. Because, yeah, like he was saying, there's so many different ways that you get certain things. So it's really nice to see them take the extra step to to like put that information into their game, because like how are you ever supposed to know that stuff, you know? That's something that's always bothered me about games that have really detailed things like that but don't explain it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of little stuff. The game starts out with a fairly hefty tutorial, but I feel like Monster Hunter is one of the only series ever where that's like excusable, because that game has a very, very steep learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, you don't just get plopped down into some random town full of idiotic villagers that you don't want to talk to. It's like that shit is just like on a huge diet in Monster Hunter World. You have this capture net that you can go out in the wild, and if you see like non-combat wildlife like birds and bugs and stuff like flying around, you can capture them, so it's also Pokemon. And then you can go into your house and you can put any animal you've captured in your house, and they just chill there. Like, there's so much. It's really good.
Nice. Well, I can't wait to play it. I'm
so
seriously
good.
looking forward to it. I'm actually thinking about how like I've always enjoyed like being a gunner in Monster Hunter, and but it was so hard to be a gunner on 3DS, which is the only thing I've ever played it on. And like even with like the Circle Pad Pro and stuff, like, you know, you've got to be quick in Monster Hunter. You got to have quick aiming, quick maths, you know, and like to hit them, especially in the parts where you need to hit them, it's very precise. So I'm thinking like playing on PC, I might actually, if I want to do a gunner thing, like do the keyboard and mouse thing, because shooting is so much easier with a mouse.
That's a good point.
So like I might have like my classic longsword set up and just like use a controller for that. But also like if I want a gun, I could do my keyboard thing. So I'm really excited about it. Really ready to try it out.
Yeah, I actually haven't messed with Gunner. Literally, all I've done is just dual blades. I'm like back where I was when we were playing Monster Hunter 3 and Monster Hunter Generations, when I was like, I must make every weapon available to me so that I will have the correct weapon for every situation and be able to destroy everything in my path with ease.
Yep.
And so I guess my one grievance, and this isn't really a grievance, but they don't have like those styles like they did in Generations, so I can't be like aerial style.
Oh,
so
that's kind of sucky. Like when they make a sequel to something and they take something out of it, it's like, why? Like,
so in order to mount something, I've got to like run up a wall and then jump off the wall and hit it while I'm in the air. And I still usually mount everything I fight at least once. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's still really fun for me. And there's even like a gliding thing you can get that like makes it easier. But yeah, I wish I could just like hop and do it. The insect glaive can, which I tried on stream, which was a very cool weapon, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever tried insect glaive in the previous ones.
I did. I thought it was weird as hell, dude. Like, I couldn't even figure out what that little beetle was supposed to do. Like, to be honest,
like, I had to have chat. It was Tachyon Railgun, who is with us right now. Was giving me the insect glaive scoop, and like he was like, all right, press this to throw the bug out, and then you'll hit the certain body part of the monster, which gives you a certain buff. Press this to bring the bug back. You don't really want to attack them until you get the attack buff. If you get all 3 buffs, they last longer. If you time getting buffs when you have 2, then all 3 will stack and last longer. And it's just like, holy crap. But the way the weapon functions itself, like you get all this air dashing and all this vaulting, and it's like pretty fast. So I was into it.
Right. That's awesome. I wonder if they've changed anything about longsword, like inadvertently tripping people all the time, or if that's just always going to be a thing. Because I love the longsword. It's just so like cool, but then like you always end up hitting people, which sucks.
But yeah, you were always just tripping dragging that thing along the ground.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it. That's really all. That's all I've been doing aside from Hearthstone. So
yeah. I don't understand why it has to be like third quarter before we get it on PC. I mean, the game's clearly finished, but hey,
it's done.
Once it finally does come out on PC, though, expect most of our Tuesdays to be
Oh,
Monster
hell
Hunter.
yeah. I haven't done any multiplayer yet. Like, I'm just
yeah.
doing single player, and I'm having a blast. Actually, you need PlayStation Plus to do multiplayer, which it's like Xbox Live, but you have to pay for it.
You got to pay for Live too, but you didn't used to have to pay for the PSN. Yeah. Live's always been pay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I had that backwards. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I haven't even played with anybody, and I don't even care. Like, I'm just having so much fun. So
yeah. Word. Well, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's good.
I think I don't have any other games to talk about. I've still just been playing Hearthstone. I think that was basically it for our for our little other game segment. Just me pining over Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
But we do have our final segment of the show, which, as always, is our card challenge segment. And I posed last week's card challenge, but let me just explain the whole what our card challenge even is. Every week we give you guys a prompt for like some guidelines to make a Hearthstone card. It could be specific, it could be general, but I just think it's a lot of fun to experiment with making cards, and we've had some really great submissions. We always get a lot of great submissions, and we've even had cards that have ended up being really close to actual cards that have been printed. So it's just kind of a fun way to just interact with the game. And after... and every week we take the previous week's prompt and we pick our 6 favorites. We read those out on stream, and afterwards, if we have some time to do some post-show games, we prioritize our 6 champions of the week for some games if
right.
you're hanging out with us. So anyway, I'll remind everybody what the card challenge was last week. I said design a healing spell. Something that is actually playable, because that's something that I feel like has been lacking for a while in Hearthstone. We've got these cards like Holy Light, like Healing Touch, that are just like literally mana to health conversions and never get played because they're just bad and total tempo losses. And even cards like Moonglade Portal have struggled to see play, even though they actually do something in addition to heal. So let's see if we have some creative solutions to some good healing spells in our card submission challenge.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate test!
Alright, so up first, from Mana X, we have a priest epic spell called Send to the Altar. It's 4 mana, destroy a minion, and restore health to all characters equal to its health. So it's more of like an assassinate with a heal like attached to it. And I think as it currently is, it's a little too strong, because like your hero itself and all of your minions get healed too, which isn't a drawback, and then it's just like a better assassinate. But I wanted to bring this one up anyway because I think it's a really cool idea, and it reminds me of actually a Magic card, Swords to Plowshares. I don't know if you remember that one.
Oh yeah. I totally see that. Yeah,
which is like white. It's a white Magic card that doesn't usually have access to direct removal. But what it does is it gives you the opportunity to remove a minion while healing your opponent. So basically, I think that's what this card really should say, especially at 4 mana, is like you restore that health just to your opponent, so that you're not benefiting at all from it, because this is just a straight up discounted assassinate.
Yeah. There are a lot of times when Priest has no problem with healing the entire board. I mean, like Circle of Healing gets run. You could fucking combo this with Akanai, and it would be the stupidest thing ever. So yeah, I definitely think Priest would be able to seize the moment where this would just be really broken. And maybe it should only benefit your opponent's side of the board, just for being a straight up kill at 4 mana.
Yeah, actually, now that you brought up, I didn't even think of the angle of Akanai Soul Priest. That actually still pushes this card into probably a broken place.
Yes.
Because for 8 mana, you can destroy any of your opponent's minions and probably deal massive face damage. So, I did not think of that. So, good. Even for 6 mana, you could do it with Embrace the Shadow. So, this is actually
probably be worth it.
Well, basically, in a vacuum, this card makes sense, but with cards that convert damage to healing, it's kind of a little too OP.
Yeah,
regardless of which way it's worded. But still a cool idea.
Still a cool card.
Very cool idea.
I like the Swords to Plowshares kind of, even if it wasn't like a reference.
Right.
You know, it's a little bit of a throwback.
He's here in chat, and he's saying the same thing he said when he submitted the card. He doesn't get paid to balance fake cards. So you made it in anyway. All right, moving on. We got from Aorikos a legendary warlock spell called Demon Scales, which is 8 mana to fully heal your hero and basically put you into fatigue, which would, I think, stack with regular fatigue because it's its own thing. It literally reads, at the end of your turn, take 1 damage. Next turn, take 1 more damage until your death. I like the way that that's worded.
Until you die.
So, basically, I mean, a full heal. I really don't know, like, honestly, how to really rate the power level of this, because a full heal is incredible, and the fatigue does start off at relatively low damage. So
I don't know. Like, I mean, it's like a Reno, but they don't have to have it be a Highlander thing, but they probably would do it anyway. And just since it's a legendary, you can only run 1, so they'd probably make it a Highlander deck and have like 3 ways to fully heal themselves, and it'd just be awful. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's some decks where if the Warlock doesn't have like a clear win condition, you can just kind of hold tight and just kind of wait for them to die, especially with their hero power being something that, you know, makes them take damage.
Yeah.
But I mean, 8 mana for just a guaranteed instant full heal. Pretty damn good.
8 mana for basically a Reno Jackson that doesn't require a Highlander deck, which is really the strength there.
Yes.
I think it's a really cool idea, though. Like, that's not something I've really thought of before. So it's very cool.
It's super creative.
Yeah. All right. Up next from DJ Fresh, we have some long awaited rogue healing. Something that rogues never had access to ever since Anti-Healbot rotated out to Wild. It's a 1 mana spell called Sothing Darkness, but I think it's supposed to be Soothing Darkness. It says, whenever you play a card this turn, restore 2 health to your hero. So, I mean, it's a 1 mana spell. It combines super well with Gadgets and Auctioneer in those miracle turns where you're just gonna basically fully heal your hero off of 1 mana, which is pretty insane. Yeah,
this wouldn't be good except that it's rogue, so it's just another combo piece. It's a cheap combo piece.
Yep.
You could even, if you really want to crank out that humongous Van Cleef, you can prep this thing.
Yeah.
And it won't even cost you any mana. So yeah, I think some tempo rogue and even miracle rogue could definitely use with the. I mean, tempo for the aggro mirror, and then of course miracle is a control deck, so you want healing obviously. So in a vacuum, this card isn't good, but because it's rogue and it's a combo piece, it is good.
Yes.
That's my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's just perfect in Rogue. It's a cheap spell to do those crazy miracle turns, which is exactly what you want, and it gives you the survivability that you need to get back in the game after, you know, a rough start against like a really aggressive deck. So it makes a lot of sense. Something that Rogue would be very happy to receive.
I dig it.
All right. Up next from Overlord CHS, we have Divine Dragonstone. 7 mana, recruit a dragon, and heal your hero based on its health. This one is, it's like, I'm really on the fence about it because my first thing was that it's straight up too strong, but then I was comparing it to like how easily you can already cheat out like a 12/12 Deathwing on turn 6 with Spiteful Summoner. It's a little less consistent. You know, it's less consistent because you could get N'Zoth, you could get Cthulhu or whatever, like bad 10 drops. But you could very easily get a 9 or a 10 drop out for 7 mana, and you're getting a massive heal. So I feel like maybe the numbers might need to be tweaked on this. Like maybe just make this at least 8 mana or more.
So then it's the same as Free from Amber.
Right, but it's still better than Free from Amber because the target is more controlled and you're healing.
Oh yeah.
So
maybe 9 mana. Because you know you can get out a Deathwing and not nuke the board. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And the heal can't be underestimated because, like, usually when you are using a card like Free from Amber, you're using all of your mana, you're using your whole turn, and not increasing your survivability at all. But with this, you've kind of shored up both things. You're making a huge tempo play while protecting your face as well.
Yeah, no, it's cool. A really cool concept. I like it for Dragon Priest, but
yeah,
probably a little OP.
Yeah, I feel like 9 is appropriate because like that's the mana cost that you are gonna want to have your dragons at for recruiting them. You know, you're gonna have, what are you gonna use? You're gonna use Malagos, Ysera, both the Death Wings. You know, possibly even something like Sleepy Dragon. You know, so I think paying the same amount that you normally would, while also getting a heal, is totally reasonable.
But the more expensive you make this card, the more Spiteful Summoner can abuse this.
That's true. But, you know, 9 mana, yeah, I mean, you can get those dragons. It's so funny, like, how much this synergizes with, like, dragons and Spiteful Summoner, which is already a dragon deck, so I think it's, I don't know. It's hard to say, like, if it's too overpowered. I mean, regardless, it's really powerful. But is it overpowered? Sure. Like, hard to say.
I think probably.
Yeah, I mean, at 9 mana.
Yeah. Oh, at 9 mana?
Yeah,
no,
like, it might still be, but still, a really cool idea. Like, you're basically guaranteed, like, with the dragons that you would use, it's basically a guaranteed 12 heal because they all have that 12 health. So, all right. Moving on to Tachyon Railgun with Second Wind of Retribution. 6 mana, epic warrior spell. Restore all your minions' health to maximum. Then deal as much damage as was healed to an enemy minion. So, I think I really like the concept of this. This is one where I'm actually going to say I feel like this could be less mana.
Yeah, because it's like you're kind of getting the same effect as like a shield slam or something.
Exactly.
Which is what, fucking 1 mana?
Yeah, shield slam's 1 mana.
That's always been an issue for me.
Yeah, but you are also getting a massive board heal to all your minions.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense because I think I'd like to see this at like 3 mana or 3 or 4, because what you could do is you could plop something down like a ghoul or do a whirlwind or something, setting up for Sleep with the Fishes. But before you do that, you can use this card and put all your minions out of the Sleep with the Fishes, target. Yeah. Because they won't be damaged any longer. Yeah. So I really like the idea behind it.
I think it should be cheaper, especially because it does have a minor drawback of unenraging your minions.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like really good mainly for setting up those like board clears with ghoul and stuff like that. And then repairing your board afterwards. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. No, I like it though.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea. And then you
guys actually came up with a lot of like really creative ways to implement healing.
Yeah. And like it doesn't even hit the warrior's face, which makes sense because like warriors don't do that, They don't heal themselves. Yeah. So all right, moving on. Actually, this is our last one here. This is our 6th submission. So from Alekman24, we have a paladin healing spell called Decisive Stance. It's 5 mana to restore 4 health to all damaged friendly characters. And then afterwards, you summon a Decisive Captain with taunt and stats equal to the total healing that was done.
This was probably like our favorite one. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm reading it, I don't think it should be friendly characters. I think it should just be friendly minions. Because if you are at low health, this thing's going to be like a fucking huge thing.
What? No, I mean, you can't heal yourself for more than 4.
It's only 4. It's only 4.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I think that I think it's bad if it doesn't hit your face, because at least if it hits face, you always are guaranteed a 5 mana 4/4 taunt. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, is still not great. And it's hard to stick damaged minions to the board. Like, you're not usually passing turn after turn, especially with a deck like Paladin, with damaged characters. So,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think the best usage of this is like a nice trading turn where, you have as much of your stuff live as possible, and then whoosh, heal everything, and then out comes this big-ass taunt guy. So, I think, like, there could be turns where it's like super broken, but you know how rampant removal is. You know how nothing lasts more than a turn in Hearthstone. Mm-hmm. So it's not like even if he comes out as like a 9/9, it's not like he's completely, he's just gonna get Vile Spine Slayered the next turn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Shadow Word Death, like this is something that you might, like against a priest, you might actually want to just play for 5 and heal yourself for 4 and get a 4/4.
Yeah, yeah.
But like big minions do not equal winning Hearthstone.
No,
I mean, which is why I think it's great that he also has Taunt, so that he kind of gives you that a little extra protection. But yeah, just like a super cool idea.
Yeah.
If you build a deck around it and manage to get like the right board, it's totally broken. Like healing a shitload of your characters, but I think overall, just knowing how Hearthstone plays out and the amount of sheer board wipes that the game has, that this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
It's a paladin card, so
So see, you know what? We can design cool healing cards for the game Hearthstone.
Look at us go.
It's possible. It's possible. So I'm really hoping that that's something that they end up doing, because like seriously, the most interesting healing spell they've ever introduced into the game is Moonglade Portal, which is still really not interesting at all. No. So it's cool to see, that we actually have some interesting ideas. So let's see what Dookie and I came up with for our versions of healing spells that could actually see play. Yours is up first, of course.
Okay, this one is called Sanctified Wrath, which is like a holy paladin talent in World of Warcraft. I always try to make it a WoW throwback. So Sanctified Wrath's a 4-mana paladin spell. Summon a 2/2 Vindicator with charge. All damage dealt by friendly characters and spells this turn also heals your hero. So, if you have no other ways to do damage, you're paying 4 mana for a 2/2, basically with lifesteal for a turn, and it's got charge, so you are going to get some health off of it. If you've got a pretty stacked board, the main thing I designed this for was for the aggro mirror. So when you're in a face race with another aggro deck, you plop this down, and you could just go all in face and heal yourself up for a ton, and then puts you way ahead of the face race. Or you could use it for trading to kind of, if you're losing, you can kind of stabilize that way. So I'm not sure if 4 mana was not enough or too much or what, but I kind of bounced it around. I figured a 2/2 charge on Hearthstone would be 3 mana, and healing is basically worthless. So that's why this spell is just 4 mana. So
yeah, no, I mean it's really just dependent on having a big board or comboing it with something like Consecrate. You could get a shitload of health gain off of this card, while also making somewhat of a play onto the board. So I think it's cool. It feels very paladin too, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah. That was the challenge for me when you were like, design a healing card. I was like, how do I design a healing card that goes in an aggro deck?
Yeah.
So
that's what I knew you were going to do. Like, somehow Dookie manages to take healing spell, and somehow it makes a charge minion. Like, this is so funny. All right, and lastly, my card is an 8-mana epic priest spell called Divine Judgment. It restores 15 health to your hero. And then, if your hero is still damaged, you deal damage equal to half of that missing health to all minions. That's all minions, including yours. So, basically, I tweaked the numbers on this card, like, again and again. This was really hard for me to balance. Oh, by the way, it's just too much text to put on there, but the way that this would work is it would be rounded down if it's not an even number, what your health ends up being. So basically, the best case scenario is somehow you survive at 1 health, and Divine Judgment comes down, puts you back to 16, and you nuke the board for 8, which is obviously insane. But that's like the very unlikely outcome. Like when, especially a class like Priest that doesn't have access to Ice Block or anything that prevents death on your opponent's turn. Surviving at 1 health is a very rare occasion. So generally, I feel like you might want to throw this down when you're somewhere in the range of 10 health or so. Yeah. And if you use this at 10, you gain 15 health, go up to 25. You would nuke the board for 2.
7?
What?
Oh, 2. Wait. How much health? Okay, restore 15 health. If you use it at 10, you'd go up to 25. Do damage equal to half the missing health.
Rounded down.
The remaining missing health?
Yes.
The
The remaining missing health. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you use this at 10, you go up to 25, and you do like a whole, Holy Nova that actually hurts your board too. And any
Gotcha.
lower is when it starts to, it's like that trade-off. Like, when do you want to use it? Do you want to play risky? See if you can survive the next turn to get a bigger board wipe? Do you want to skip a couple hero powers to get yourself lower? So
that's interesting. The more I think about it, the more I feel like it might actually be a little too much mana or something. Or
you think so?
I don't know. Because 15 health's a lot.
Yeah.
But if it's 7, then it's got to. Well, if it's 7 and it's a flame strike, but you're still flame striking your side. So that's still not as good as flame strike. Yeah, I don't know. I do like that it causes you to play that little risk assessment game.
Yeah.
Where you're like, do I want to let myself get a little lower? And priest isn't a class where you can throw on a weapon and like hurt your own face to like make this work better for you or something.
Yeah, like this incentivizes you to use, cards like Shadow Reaper Anduin that actually take away your ability to heal. And also, like, throwing armor on your character is also good because it's healing without, like, affecting your health total. So, it's one of those things that causes a lot of mind games and interplay. Like, if this became a cornerstone of the meta and you're playing against a priest, you'd constantly have to be thinking about the Divine Judgment turn. How much health is he going to be at when he goes into the Divine Judgment turn? Like that kind of stuff.
Like,
so,
I don't want to get him down too. It's like when you're playing against a Reno deck and you're like, I don't want to like blow my whole load before they Reno. I want to wait till after so I can drop the hammer.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
All right. So that's where my head was at.
Yeah. And you got the Anduin from the Battle for Azeroth trailer.
Yeah. Yep.
That trailer changed my life.
Yeah, I mean, he totally. I don't know if you guys saw that trailer. It's really cool. But in that moment, Anduin, like all of Anduin's like army, because now he's like the leader of the Alliance, and the Alliance army just got totally like fucking owned by the Horde, and they're all dead basically. And he just like shoots this big beam of light into the sky, and it like rains down, and they all get resurrected. So
yeah,
it's not exactly like what the card does at all, but I don't know. I just envisioned like basically you like heal yourself, like get that divine help, and it's like the judgment factor comes in with like man, they really hurt you, so like time to unleash some fury, like based on like how much like damage was dealt. So anyway,
no, it's good art to use for it. It's super cool.
Anywho,
yeah. So I think it's my turn to pose the card creation challenge.
It's totally your turn to pose.
And I did think of one. So this time, design a spell or any card, spell, minion, weapon, hero, whatever you want it to be. Really, the stipulation is that it has to cost more than 10 mana.
Wait, okay, it can be anything, but it has to cost more than 10.
Has to cost more than 10.
So obviously
you're gonna have to work in some way to discount it, unless it's druid or rogue, and then I guess it could be 11 or 12. But don't do that. Obviously design a card. Doesn't matter what type of card. It just has to cost more than 10 mana, and then you're gonna have to come up with some clever way to make the card discount, over the course of the game.
Oh, wait, I got it. 11 mana 5/5 costs 1 less every time a minion dies while this is in your hand.
Hey, that's pretty good. Corridor giant.
No, I like that. That's a cool one. That is a good one.
Yeah. All right.
So that does it for episode 32. I feel like that was a good one. I liked our card submissions. They were good as always. We got some really good card designers on our on the Salty Dog crew.
We should all start our own card game.
Wow. Now there's an idea.
Yeah. Kickstart it right now.
Well, we should totally do this. Anyway, though, you want to let them know where we are located and such.
Yep. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, it is at Salty Dog Podcast, or individually, my Twitter handle is at Dookie Shed, and Clashes is at KLASHE_HS. You can check us out on Tuesdays. We stream together at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Sometimes Hearthstone, sometimes not. In the future, it will be a lot of Monster Hunter, and we do that on our own separate channels. Mine's twitch.tv/DookieShed, and Clash's is twitch.tv/KLASHE_HS, which is the channel you're on right now if you're watching the stream.
Correct. And hey, we made affiliate like today, basically.
Oh yeah,
I did. I did on my channel here that we're on.
Yeah.
Don't have it all set up yet, but I finally reached that final milestone. So thank you guys all for coming out here and watching.
Have to have us a little planning session, get our nice bed emote all figured out.
Yeah, we're gonna do emotes, the first order of business, and then probably on our next Tuesday stream on my channel, I'll be modding some people. So hope to see you guys at that Tuesday stream. It starts at 7 instead of 8 o'clock. That's Eastern time.
Yep. And just if you wherever you listen to us, if you're listening to just the audio or watching the VOD, give us good ratings if you like the show. We'd really appreciate it.
Yes, we always appreciate any ratings, and of course you guys just watching and coming and hanging out with us. But until next time, stay salty, guys.
Stay salty.